Hello and welcome into another episode of Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. I'm Kyle Glaser alongside three-time Padres All-Star closer Heath Bell. Heath, we are exactly 2 weeks away from opening day, which means roster cutdowns are coming, which means the regulars are getting more time in spring training. It's an exciting time. Everything's starting to feel a little more real. And again, the closer opening day gets, the more the excitement builds. I know for me, and I think everyone else in the baseball world.
Welcome, everyone, to Baseball America's Top 100 Prospects Show. Inside Studio 3, it's Greg Amsinger and Carlos Pena, along with the guys from Baseball America. We got Kyle Glaser and J.J. Cooper. J.J., Kyle, good to see you guys again. Carlos, are you ready for this?
You talk about the Giants and the Reds rebuilding. The Padres are rebuilding. Francisco Mejia is someone they went out and acquired at the trade deadline for Brad Hand and Adam Simber, two big leaguers, including an all-star closer for this guy. Really set himself apart with a 50-game hit streak in the minors 2 years ago. He's hit 300 pretty much every level, got some big league time with the Indians, came up and started with the Padres the end of last year. There's power, there's the ability to hit for average. He's very aggressive with his swing. There's still some things to work on catching-wise, but you can dream of a 300 hitting catcher.
Let's talk undefeated Padres with Kyle Glaser, superstar host of Friar Territory. Kyle, great to have you on. And, of course, you're enjoying watching a little Padres ball right now. But before we get to the team on the field, let's get to the money moves. Jackson Merrill signs this big 9-year contract extension, could turn into 10. What did you think when you saw this?
It wasn't a huge surprise. The Padres had approached Jackson Merrill about an extension even when he was still in the minor leagues, especially given the season he had last year as a rookie, the hot start he was off to this year. There was a sense that this was going to come sooner rather than later. It was just a matter of when. 9 years, $135 million. As you mentioned, it can become 10 years and up to $204 million, depending on various options and escalators. All in all, this was a deal that made a lot of sense for both sides. And again, it was really just a matter of when. This had been in the works for some time.
Is this showing us how much $135 million is? I get it. Jackson Merrill could have been, minus Paul Skeens, he could have been Rookie of the Year last year. But all we heard about the Padres was, we got to cut guys. They're talking about possibly trading Dylan Cease's $10 million. Like, does this show us what $135 million over 9 years really is to a team?
Not necessarily. The Padres have a lot of money coming off the books after this season. Dylan Cease will be a free agent. Michael King will be a free agent. Luis Ariza will be a free agent. So for the Padres, a lot of their payroll concerns were related to 2025. With the money they have coming off the books in future years, Darvish's deal comes off the books in a few years as well, Musgrove's in a few years as well. There is long-term money in the organization. It was more about finding short-term payroll room, but we saw even with the Nick Pivetta deal, the way that was structured, he's not making a lot this year, just a $1 million base salary, but he, depending on if he opts out, will get paid in future years. So same thing with the Jackson Merrill extension. Most of the money, pretty much all of it's going to come in future years. So it was just about payroll for this year. They have plenty of money for future years.
Jack?
Exactly. When you look at the number of players who have gone straight from Double-A to the majors and have the success Jackson Merrill has, it's a very, very short list. It's Mike Trout, it's Juan Soto, it's Julio Rodriguez, it's Fernando Tatis Jr. The guys who have done what Jackson Merrill has done in terms of a top 3 Rookie of the Year finish, jumping straight from Double-A to the majors, they're all superstars. It's a very, very short list. And you consider he did that while also playing an entirely new position, going from shortstop to center field, which he had never played before. You mentioned the home runs. He had 5 go-ahead or game-tying home runs in the 8th inning or later last year as a 21-year-old. The only other players who've ever done that are Frank Robinson and Mel Ott, 2 Hall of Famers. The company Jackson Merrill is in already with what he's accomplished at a young age is pretty elite company. Then the National League. It starts with Yoshinobu Yamamoto. It will be a shock if he does not win Rookie of the Year as long as he stays healthy. This is a guy who has a chance to be one of the best pitchers in baseball, not rookies in baseball, best pitchers in baseball from day one. He's got to be the favorite there. You mentioned Jordan Lawler. I think we're going to see Paul Skeens pretty early. He's a guy who could really adjust to Major League Baseball fairly early, similar to how we saw Steven Strasburg and Garrett Cole come up their first years after being drafted. This guy fits in that bucket, has a chance to make an impact right away. So again, there's so much young talent in the game today. We see it year after year after year, and 2024 is going to be no exception. It's extensive. We talk to scouts for hundreds of hours over the course of the year. We dive into data. We go out and see these guys ourselves. And ultimately, you're projecting the future. There's going to be some misses in there, but anytime you can highlight some of these super talented players coming up, it's important to do so. And we've seen again throughout baseball history, but especially the last couple of years, we've seen so many special young talents coming up. We talk about Ronald Acuna Jr., you talk about Juan Soto, you talk about Fernando Tatis, and it's year after year after year. I got to cover Julio Rodriguez extensively, including during the Olympic qualifying that you were part of, Todd. Remember being in Florida, cover you guys during that, and you could see it there. This was a future superstar. So we see young players continuing to make an impact on the game every single year. Evan Carter being the latest example in the postseason, and there's just more talent coming, and it's a really fun time to be a fan of Major League Baseball and also all the players coming up through the systems.
Senior writer for Baseball America, now MLB.com contributor, joining me now, has covered baseball for a very long time, and he's actually covering the series that begins tonight in Los Angeles. Kyle, welcome. Thanks for being here. Chris Russo and I were talking about how every team this year seems to have its flaws. There's nobody that's running away with things. When you look at the M's and the Dodgers, what are their biggest strengths? And furthermore, what are their biggest weaknesses?
Yeah, for the Dodgers, their biggest strength is their overall organizational depth. This is a team that has just been ravaged by injuries. Despite that, they're tied for the most wins in Major League Baseball of any team this year. On the flip side, the weakness is their health. This is a team, as we've talked about, that has seen so many starting pitchers go on the IL, as well as key contributors in the lineup. And it seemed like things were starting to get better last week. In the last week, Mookie Betts came off the IL, Walker Buehler came off the IL, Bobby Miller came off the IL. We have Max Muncy and Tommy Edman are due to come off the IL today. So just when it seemed like things were getting better, Tyler Glasnow has to go on the IL. Freddie Freeman suffers a finger injury. They're going to do some more imaging to get more details on that. It really just comes down to health for the Dodgers. When everyone's healthy, this is the most talented team in baseball, but not everyone's been healthy at any point this season.